If I can have myself in a place, in a position. If I can have myself in a place, in a position. There would be nothing but the gestures invest that store for supply. Demand mandatory, satori. You have that vice to a vice trap. There's a place where you lack, there's hope. Trap for the amnesty amnesia, penetrating your pent to glance, this is glory. Narrative for the story to prepare, graphic novels for nobility, movabilities to hold, appliance that to apply to the can, to the applicants, to the complicated enough to compile. Pillars to stand up for the supported portion you're important, pertaining those tamed for tamper. Temper temperature for the tremor that reborns your course aroused to that blouse of trials. So the credentials and the weight to stain the pain to void. Emotion still stands still.
Name of the Lord is where I am safe. The name of the Lord is where I am safe. It's where I feel safe.
Reborn. Relive. Endings can be beautiful. Sitting on a rooftop and surrounded by trees and yet to feel still friendly. Witness of the warm yellow ball of the sun, secure sky, soothing canvas, just enough for the playful sibling. Feeding the water to the plants that you can find nowhere to how. Appear to just be the unknown yet. Fulfilled requirement and environment that made something calm and peculiar to see. Beautiful evening enough to come to an end and happiness is ending. Dream. Dreaming of the lover for the captivating, compelling and the mysterious enough for the sea, exquisite and the polish. Like a gem rare and well cut for the young, grand enough for tall for the stature. Made my eyes stare fixedly at you for the almost embarrassing hope that you wouldn't notice of the fear for the yearning between. Controlled with recognizing my eyes at this extremities. Getting the tingle for the pinning and the feeling and the depth of the fingertips of the missing be the dampness and crept after the pale for this to be the hassling over or unraveling in your eyes at this is standstill.
I can sleep
It's completely immobilized what you do to me. This is a position for the endless and the possibilities. When you deviate yourself with the bothering body and I can find the words to slip. Sweetly absorbed to mine. Taste of this alone. For your charm from the mouth becomes that effectual from the dry words. It's fine for your hazel luminous and eyes sparkling to the cream. This would never happen then for the sake to take my hand for the glass of water you could drink for this or else you what you need for what to make it happen.
Your name is where
Thrive into the kingdom. You have the zeal. They come varieties to write in distinctive perspective, riding in chariots and horses, throwing the banquet with the poetry is feasted for the walls and the body for the writing of the Jerry Lee court lands of the dying. This is settling over the case of the seers of the wise men. Coming to explain the dreams of the province of the kingdom, for there would be no border for the love of the peace of humility, for the virtues and the inhabitants with the decrease. I would make be I for the love of all poets, the natives and the royalties, for the shared amongst us all, for the providence of my kingdom, for the governors to stand out, for the dress, for the fabrics and the alluring words and birds will send the facts of love, for this a male for the poem. Carry the initials for the intellectual, elixir for the words that will be split amongst all. With every soul having fair portion enough, city center to the junction. Exhibiting talents in the barn for the cinemas of the thrill and imaginating pieces in the kingdom beyond suffering and pathways of inspiration. Removing that conscience. Horror for the make the room for the new. Siblings and the wonder enough for the evidence and you complete upon scum and the revolting. And hard to keep up wherever you are for the keep that gathering to the dust and listen until you are whole again if you want. You cry for the battle for the exit. Too many been hurt so many times that the countless and bullets and the victimized and the occasional legion for the hurt me no more. You're my favorite song, my favorite song. My tune in your voice for the rhythm of the heartbeat, for the unchained, for the melody, and the thoughts, harmony, no love in the temple. Silly laugh for the pitch and the knowing enough for the tone of your breath, for the silence and the symphony. Every time you call my name, I can't stop listening for the whistle to repeat. Hoping to be composing just a listener, for the note, for the anymore, for the change of your tune, for the even the composition, for the beautiful music piece, and I can never heard it anymore for the favorite song. He was mine, Lord, my poetic vision. What would it happen to be for the lostness in the meaning and the message? Despite the distance and who are we for the fact of the matter? For this is the hurt for the most of the youth, and I love you for the you who you are. For this would be the adolescence, for the granted, for there was something dreadful, the wrong to carry me, for the heavy burden to carry. Experts in my life to tell me what the problem was, and I could find something defective for the chromosome out of place. This is what's keeping the secret. To reach the village of age and obtain, for to no longer give that, for everybody else thinks for the keeping up with the Joneses in the morning, for the knowing the big secret enough for the damn wrong with me, for this and taking it out of someone, enough for the target, the scapegoat, defense is enough for the innocent, for this to be the killer of the soul, for whoever had the unique as a threat, retreat. It's a goodbye to my love, stop thinking about you, to never stop loving. So for my own, for this the heart knows the wealth. For this, thank you for the best of the heat burst, baby. One day sign from above, this will be put you the first into my goodbye love. I remember you. Repetitive ripples to the reverberate for the mundane messages, unclear, boring beatitudes to the personal images for the deep. Attached after the dilemmas of distraction, the domination and all the broken pieces buried themselves along with my memory.
Jesus, take your place. Jesus, take your place. All the other names fade away. In my life, God, that all the other names fade away. Until there's only you, all the other names fade away. Jesus, take your place. Jesus, take your place. Jesus, take your place. Jesus, take your place. Powerful name it is. What a powerful name it is. Jesus. The name of the Lord is strong tower.
All set to hold that position. There's no intermittence here. Stand still. Hope. It change. Lift. Words. Let's only be obsessed for this a new normal. Fields, fire, rain, dance ready. Love will be poetry together for the fall in love with themselves. The verses became when they were together. This is hope. The horrible habits for forgetting the past. This is where for gone events happening remains. The wonderful how it felt for the marvel, the new found for the found. Countless treasures that are right there on the ground. Anticipation is a vacation to break the laying in the grass with nothing at stake. Nowadays it's worry and stress. The whole world is huge. Rent, the bills, the debt, the concern for the central banks need to burn. Illusions of choice and fear to drive. It's a dark mental prison in that system, it's rot. This needs to be this, so to trust me on something is rotten and something's amiss. A wedge driven between us and them for to tear down the wall. It gets rebuilt again. Opposing sides of the economies. False truth spins away. Divisions fabricated with the rift of this the free thought for the skepticism with the cast adrift. Opinions are polarizing, ideas are planted. Plots that divide us what are quite underhanded for the tranquility, sublime, and ideal to contrary the other. Trace that we share dreams and ambitions, run counter to the control. Unstated missions is far more relate. Set us apart for this we must awaken before we depart. The art would be the journey, love to follow all. This would be the friend zone, this would be all. The back, the direction, to the near. And apparently I don't have this, but be home to tear. Sometimes they don't mean anything though, except the fighting too long. But maybe it's time to call it quits. Or my sweet dreams that this is where I find happiness in the human when I understand. For this the love of the care, for the blessing, the earth, for the peace of the everywhere for path we go. Dream the world for the sympathy for the others, so the world would be our paradise of happiness. Dream of the world where humans understand that the sweeter freedom for the everyday in the world we find. Just imagine to keep us happy, then we didn't bother likewise in this other life, and also we want to overcome the dream is so sweet. I wish your life has also become like that for the mind of sent dreams invading the dream. Afloat, pieces, be broken or not, you can't heal. So much pain that one's hard to give away for the hope that it doesn't rain. Remain to just try to hide deep inside for the protecting of the broken pieces. You can find the seam to find the hurt. Swept away for the emotions of the moment. So many pieces taken away for the understanding of the pain remained to fight the day to the devastating minute. Not fully healed and just residing inside the pain. We're just unfair. Abandon those sabotaging good intentions, but not letting go for this, letting the pain, but just remain.
Powerful name it is.
All set to hold that position. There's no intermittence intermittence here. Stand still. Hope. Change. Lift. Words. To only be obsessed for this new normal.
All set to hold that position. There's no intermittence here. Stand still. Hope. It change. Lift. Words. To only be obsessed for this new normal. Fields, fire, rain dance ready. Love will be poetry together for the fall in love with themselves when the verses became a name together. This is hope. The horrible habit of forgetting the past. This is where gone events happen in the maze. The wonderful how it felt for the marvel, the new found for the found. Countless treasures that are right there on the ground. Anticipation is a vacation that break be laying in the grass with nothing at stake. Nowadays it's worry and stress. The whole world is huge. Rent, the bills, the debt, the concern for the central banks need to burn. Losers the choice and fear to try. It's a dark mental prison and that system as well. This needs to be this, so to trust me on something is right and something's amiss. A wedge driven between us and them for the tear down the wall. Gets rebuilt again. Imposing sides of the economies. False truth spins away. Division is fabricated with the rift of this free thought for the skepticism of the castle drift. Opinions polarized and ideas planted. Plots that divide us were quite underhanded for the tranquility sublime and ideal to contrary with the other. Trace that we share dreams and ambitions run counter to the control. Unstated missions is far more relate. Set us apart for this we must awaken before we depart.
The name of the Lord is
Stand still.
a strong tower.
You still have the hope. Poetry in motion for the world needs love. Nature and humanity for the words of grammar and grit, classic. Literature for the respect of the writing of others. Self for the rhythm and the rhyme for the class. A treasure for the harmony. Halted and you ask that for the romantic. And then we need more for this, the poet for the living and the breath. This is taking the action, the line written for the souls to reflect the heart. It's the mirroring each night. Intense for the imagination, the past portraits to burn the eye. For this, the night's darker than black. The camp inside for the group of friends you can find the conversion. Beginning with one cycle to stare at one another for the flame shines in the eyes and the glass of red wine. An elegant choice for this to be cheered with the glass of mine for the initial introduction to faintly dissolve into the friendship and closing in the distance of which one existed. Burnt in the fire for the silent for the mission. There's no soul, this is the place of this to separate. Stand still. You still have the hope. Poetry in motion for the world needs love. Nature and humanity for the words of grammar and grit and classic. Literature for the respect of the writing and for others. For self for the rhythm and the rhyme for the past. A treasure for the harmony. Halted and you ask that for the romantic. And then we need more for this, the poet for the living and the breath. This is taking the action, the line written for the souls to reflect the heart. It was the mirroring each night. Intense for the imagination, the past portraits to burn the eye. For this, the night's darker than black. The camp inside for the group of friends you can find the conversion. Beginning with one cycle to stare at one another for the flame that shines in the eyes and the glass of red wine. An elegant choice for this to be cheered with the glass of mine for the initial introduction to faintly dissolve into the friendship and closing in the distance of which one existed. Burnt in the fire for the silent for the mission. There's no soul, this is the place of this to separate. Subliminal. Acceptance of the converging of convergence of the thoughts from a distance for the dark eyes. This reflect for this fire that's burning and separating itself. Reflections inside the eyes of this is all burning. Sat by the fire, seeing the flames of this and that, left for the char, remains of this and remain. Mirroring in the night for this, concealment for this. Be bright enough for the other side. Will it hurt when my heart starts to beat? The crack in my smile for not to tend to that anymore. of us the rest of this, and let us continue to the test to pour out the best of this lines to stop. Nothing in the nabbing and the pray for the sea, the people of the streets immense and the power of the words. Students learning, diving in the depths of the words. Scribblers of the magnificent for the platform in depth. Gratitude for this creating such an industrious avenue for the world to see and hear us. What do we do will be written in good books. Smiling at us for the leaf, for the power, for the poet. Still for the pursuit of the legacy of their lifetime. But still overcome for this to be the water for the eminent. For fishing for the nothing figures of the generation. I have that Franklin detail, so this would be white feathers, so this would be what I began to see. I see somewhere from the love of the past, so this is signs all around for didn't know if I should believe it or not. Promise remain. Tracing their names in the sand for the rising tides. Or a wash for time for the dissolving tears and immortal words and germinating visions and translucent dreams and pelting of the raindrops and propagate for this the numbers of the waves as an echo for the swathing and sweeping backlit tender for the careless and the rise and the message of the Bible finds the eyes and wish it was been reborn for the sunset for another opportunity for the last rays enlightened igniting for the dying embers of the hope and the faith sit and watch the distant dreams and turn their self into nightmares of the shadow for the certain uncertainty that's left after the riding in the void non-existent knowledge of the misplaced faith hopeless and hope drowning in their own regrets and past wasted for the present also this is the future for life is indeed hard but there is no hope for faith that relies upon sunrise and sets every day for that whatever you knowing this referred to hope and faith stand still. Stand still. Still have the hope. Poetry in motion for the world needs love. Nature and humanity for the words of grammar and grit and classic. Literature for the respect of the writing and for others. Stand still. You still have the hope. Poetry in motion for the world needs love. Nature and humanity for the words of grammar and grit and classic. Literature for the respect of the writing and for others. Self for the rhythm and the rhyme for the class, a treasure for the harmony, halted and you ask them. Stand still. Stand still. Stand still. You still have hope. Poetry in motion for the world needs love. Nature and humanity for the words of grammar and grit, classic. Literature for the respect of the writing and for others. For self for the rhythm and the rhyme for the class, a treasure for the harmony, halted and you ask that for the romantic and we need more for the poet for the stand still. Stand still. Stand still. You still have the hope. Poetry in motion for the world needs love. Nature and humanity for the words of grammar and grit, classic. Literature for the respect of the writing and for others. For self for the rhythm and the rhyme for the class, a treasure for the harmony, halted you ask that for the romantic and we need more for this the poet for the living and the breath. This is taking the action, the line written for the soul to reflect the heart. It was the mirror needs tonight. Stand still. Stand still. Stand still. Stand still.
Jesus, take your place.
Poetry in motion for the
Jesus,
world
take your place.
Nature and humanity for the words of grammar and grit. Literature for the respect of the writing. Self for the rhythm and the rhyme for the class, a treasure for the harmony, halted and the last act for the romantic and we need more for this the poet for the living and the breath. This is taking the action, the line written for the soul to reflect.
There's only you.
It's the mirror needed tonight. Intense for the imagination, the past portraits of the brain. The night's darker than black of the counting sign.
Jesus, take your place.
Beginning.
Jesus,
One side of the stair with another for the flame that shines in the eyes. An elegant choice for this to be cheered with a glass of wine for the initial introduction, effect dissolving to the friendship and closing of the distance in which one existed. Burnt in the fire for the silent image. Two souls to the place of this to separate. Subliminal. Acceptance of the virgin from the virgin. Thoughts from the distance of the eyes. This reflect for this fire that's burning. Separating itself. Reflections inside the eyes. This is all right. Stabbed by the fire. Seeing the flame of this now. Left with the jar. Remains of this. Mirroring the night for this. Considering for this. Bright enough for the for me for the something you can find all the time for the seems to heartbeat for the faint. Zelda was the black clouds for pouring rain for the sadness and still slow seems to just drag by for the little for the trickling of the dust of the house. The sea. Like a farmer sows the seeds of weed, stopping so no lapses to search forward for the next to make a goal. Nothing in the navigate the praise to see the people of the streets and some power. Students learn, dive in depth for the work. Scribblers are the magnificent for the platform. Gratitude for this creating such an industrial avenue for the world to see and hear us. Do will be written in letters. Smiling at us for the leaf, for the power, for the poet. Still for the pursuit of the legacy of the lifetime. And still will come for this to be the water for the eminent. For the nothing figures of the generation. Have that frank in detail, so this would be white feathers, so this would be red began to see. I see somewhere from love to past, so this is signs all around for good to know if I can promise for me. Tracing their names in the sand for the rising tide. I watch for time for dissolving tears in immortal words. The raindrops and propagate for this members of the wages and echo for the sparkling and sweet backlit. Under the shores and horizon, the message in the Bible finds the eyes and wishes. For the sunset, for another opportunity for the last race. Uniting for the dying embers of the hope and the faith. Sit and watch the distant dreams and turn themselves into nightmares and shadow for the certain uncertainty that's left after riding the void. Non-existent knowledge and the misplaced faith. Hopeless and hope. Drowning in their own regrets and past wasting for the present and also distant future for them. Life is indeed hard, but there's no hope to hope for the faith that relies upon the sunrise and sets every day for every knowing is referred to hope and faith. Stand still. You still have hope. Poetry and motion for the world needs love. Nature and humanity for the words of grounded great classical. Literature for the respect of the writing for others. Yourself for the rhythm and the rhyme for the class. And treasure for the harmony. Ultimately the ask after the romantic. Be more for this the poet for the living and the breath. This is taking the action of the line written for the souls to reflect the heart. It was the mirroring each night. Intense for the imagination, the past portraits that burn the eye. For this, the night's darker than black. The cap inside for the group of friends you could